good morning and good night, as we always say in blockchain or Web3, because around the world, there's always morning for someone and there's always good night for everyone. And the core message there is Web3 is truly a global phenomenon, right? This is my first time. I'm going to do a brief intro for myself. My first time in Africa. I've been to 44 countries. 44 is an easy number to remember because Elon Musk just bought Twitter for $44 billion, right? So that's the first number for the day. But my journey was the various other members and contributors of the Harmony community started about 4.5, 5 years ago. And I think there are three small little stories I want to share with you guys to talk about what is Harmony, why Harmony, and how Harmony. The journey we started is really more of a blueprint, the thing that you normally hear from Silicon Valley. Very much based on personal passion, based on kind of our journey together as a group of engineers and entrepreneurs. In 2017, Steven and I and various other Harmony co-founders, very typical of Silicon Valley. By the way, just a quick question for you guys. How many have you been to Silicon Valley in the past? Okay, I see some hands raising up. Despite what you guys think, Silicon Valley looks like a village. It's not this high-rise, futuristic city that you guys probably imagine. But what's most meaningful about Silicon Valley are basically youthful thinking, the ability to challenge the status quo. And very much, that's kind of really the genesis of Harmony, which is really looking at the system of today and feeling what can we do to contribute. So in the early days of Harmony, it was basically roughly around 20 of us every week gathering in Silicon Valley and just having a simple coffee or beer conversation. So any idea that's actually worth value, that's worth kind of thinking about and talking about, really start with simple conversation. And like any good conversation, it actually requires active listening. And that's kind of the second part of my kind of a main reason for being here, is really to listen. Any good conversation requires a speaker and a great audience to listen. So many of us, who are representing Harmony, and I do see also there are various other, kind of community contributors that are organically built within Ghana. The goal for us here is to listen. Listen to the kind of the ground movement. Listen to what the central government is thinking about. Because any good ideas get incubated through listening, active listening. And that's kind of the second story, which is, through the founding of Harmony in 2017 and 2018, we actually travel around the world. We went to very different parts of Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, various different cities in China to listen. Not just listen to, investors, that's certainly part of it, but really listen to the developers, the engineers, the entrepreneurs, the youth. So we spent about a year and a half just traveling around the world, building and listening. So that was the second part of our Harmony journey. The third part, which is what is Harmony? Well, Harmony in so many ways was the first decentralized proof of stake blockchain. So speaking English term, what that really means is in 2017 and 2018, the co-founding team had the foresight that we have to move away from proof of work, which is Bitcoin, which many of you guys are familiar with, which is something like a digital gold, but it requires a lot of energy. So in 2018, the core engineering team figured out we have to make a technology that's actually energy efficient or sustainable. So the third part about the what is Harmony, I think the way to think about it is, it's almost like Ethereum or Bitcoin from the future. This is one of the very first blockchain to actually have a truly kind of scalable infrastructure. And why is that important, you ask? That's just a lot of engineering talk. Well, it's important because even 4.5 years ago, we had the foresight to realize for this technology to really take off, We need to make it accessible for everyone, not just in the US, not just in Asia, but in Africa. So the opening statement in 2018 was open consensus for 10 billion people. And go into a little bit more details in terms of like why this is important, because for the longest time, many of us actually been developing this in silo. And it wasn't until 2019 and 2020, due to the pandemic, we realized we really have to radically decentralize this technology. And fast forward to last year, we had the the good fortune to work with DAO, the founder of the Ghana Unity DAO, to really start thinking about how do we take this technology, which is not that the most meaningful thing, the most important thing, but how do we take this piece of technology, this tool, to actually deploy it around the world. And this is kind of the fun part of the journey. 4.5 years, hiding in the village, building. And there's nothing more exciting than having the ability to work with the local communities, to contribute, to inform, and hopefully to educate what we're doing together. And I think the main agenda for this year and for the next 4 years, the journey, we actually mapped out our roadmap until 2026. For the next 5 years, it's a simple message. The goal is to really having this dance, this duet of culture and technology. By combining the two, we think this is the best path forward to make sure that everyone can have an active role to participate. And why is culture important? Because just in the past 24 hours, we have many great conversations. I landed around like 8 p.m. last night, and we had a brief dinner conversation. Many of the folks in the audience talked about, well, we have to start with culture. And culture, not just in a big way, but in a kind of a nitty-gritty small way that's tangible to everyone. Culture can mean different things to different people in different parts of the world. It could mean relationship, your cultural heritage, your personal aspiration, your inspiration. And through this Ghana Unity DAO, what we're hoping to accomplish between now and next year and a year after and a year after is really to start thinking about how do we make the technology invisible? How do we make harmony invisible so the culture is actually in the foreground? Because the most magical moment is when technology completely becomes invisible and all you care about is the thing that matters to you. So do this integration of culture and technology. That's how we're going to make sure the technology can become accessible for millions and millions of people. Now, 10 billion people seems like a crazy number. I mean, but then again, 3 days ago, I thought $44 billion for Twitter was kind of a crazy number. Numbers are not the most important thing, but it is that idea. It's symbolically, how do we actually activate more people? Do this collaboration is the most interesting bit of what we're trying to accomplish. And then last bit that I want to talk about today is also something that has actually been very near and close to our heart. How many of you guys heard of Coachella? Right? I know there's the Afrochella coming up very, very soon, right? That's actually a small part of culture. The celebration of music, the celebration of the youth movement. Because about a week and a half ago, a good number of us in the Harmony core team, we went to Coachella for the first time after 2 years of lockdown. Again, lockdown in a village in Silicon Valley. And we went out there, and what we experienced was transformative because we saw the energy from the youth. These are people who are in their early 20s. Some of them are even in their kind of a late teenage years. And what we sensed was this palpable energy to do something different, to celebrate life, to really truly enjoy experiences that are very different than the prior generation. In so many ways, that's kind of what Web3 is about. It's not about accumulation of wealth. It's a celebration of what wealth can bring to you. And I know there are some cautionary tales about don't let Web3, crypto, or blockchain be synonymous with money. Because one of the best mentor in this space was Warren Buffett. He talked about there are 4 types of wealth. There's financial wealth, which is money, critically important, obviously. There's physical wealth, which means your health. There's time wealth, which means your freedom, the freedom to do things that you want to do. There's social wealth, which is the peer recognition by the community. So Web3 is really our generation way of saying, let's not just be driven by the accumulation of money, because that can lead you astray. But culture and technology through Web3 is actually what's most meaningful. And youth is a beautiful thing, because Ghana, just like many of the African countries, that's a resource that no other place can replicate. 70% of the Ghanaian demographic is considered what we can call younger millennials or Gen Zs. And with that energy in place, this is a brand new chapter to write the future. Because Web3, truth to be told, is still very new. It's extremely new because so many of the rules, so many of the ideas has yet to be written. So that's why Harmony and Ghana Unity DAO is excited to have this kind of collaboration, to have this dialogue, to have this conversation. Because again, my agenda here is to listen. Listen to the movement on the ground, to write the future together. And that's the most exciting bit. I repeat this word over and over again. We're excited to listen. We're excited to listen. Listening means we're here to collaborate, not just to extract value, but to inject value. So the last number I want everyone to remember is last year at Lisbon, we announced we have a $300 million ecosystem fund. And we have been actively deploying through the collection of grants, DAOs, and direct investment. We have deployed over $40 million since last October. And the Ghana Unity DAO is one of the larger DAOs that we formulated in the past 6 months. And I'm sure, in the next, for today and tomorrow, we're going to talk more details about how we can contribute to the local community. So very much excited to listen to everyone and to share kind of our journey for building the future of Web3 together. Thank you.